You're no stranger to revered cult-like followed movies, first with Guardians of the Galaxy and most recently with the Downton Abbey sequel. What was the biggest difference between being in something Marvel related and then most recently a period piece?
Well, I think the biggest difference is how technical some of those Marvel films are. So you're working with, well, often you're having to use your imagination and pretend that the thing is in front of you that you're acting with, right? Be that a robot or, you know, a character that you're working with, who sometimes isn't there, well, definitely isn't there, and then it's put in post. But often you're just pretending and using your imagination, and the sets are way bigger and way more technical. It's much more of a mechanical set. There are 10 times more cameras, more crew, it feels like, just to you know, because there are so many different things that are going on. It's more kind of stunts involved, and yeah, it's just it's slightly more, from my experience, it was slightly more physical. My performance was more physical, and you have to like key into your imagination a bit more. And then with Downton, period drama, so a lot more gentle. It feels a lot more,
The opposite.
yeah, complete opposite, a lot calmer.
Cool. So in Downton Abbey, A New Era, you star as silent era matinee idol Myrna Dalgleish. What can you tell me about your character?
Well, so yeah, Myrna is a very famous kind of Hollywood starlet, and she is a silent movie star. She's come over to Highclere to shoot a silent film, and then halfway through shooting the film, the studio informs the director that everybody's now making talkies and that they need to shut down production, and the director decides to turn their silent film into a talkie. Myrna is from the East End of London. She's never had to use her voice as a tool on screen before. It's just been about aesthetic and her face and her body, and, you know, telling a story through that medium. So that's terrifying for Myrna because she hasn't been trained vocally. She has quite a discordant speaking voice, and it's unrecordable. So she has to, I mean, from her point of view, that's her career over. That's the end of her career, and that was very common then for a lot of actresses. So Myrna's career probably spanned 7 or 8 years, and that was her done. And so it was a terrifying time, this kind of finding your voice period of time when they were transitioning into talkies. And yeah, as I said, terrifying situation for a lot of actresses to be in.
Interesting. So do you see any similarities between Laura and Myrna?
We're both actresses. Yeah, I suppose the idea of finding your place in the industry, backing yourself, having belief in yourself, there's those sort of themes that coexist between the two of us. And there's always something that you're coming up against in any industry, right? There's a movement that happens that either you keep up with or you don't, and it's either a choice or it isn't. And so I think there was some empathy certainly there. Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like being the new girl on set?
Oh, great. You know what? This cast are amazing. They're so welcoming, and they know each other really well. They've been doing this for 12 years, so they're really rooted. And yeah, it just feels like a real family unit that you're joining. So they're all really relaxed and fun and very welcoming of new people. And I knew a few of the cast before, so I felt really excited about joining this cast. It was just off the back of the second lockdown. I was looking forward to working with Simon Curtis, who had directed My Week with Marilyn, which I loved. So I was looking forward to that and seeing some old friends. And this character was really interesting to me, and I was a fan of Downton Abbey, so it kind of, you know, gloriously ticked loads of boxes.
It's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, it was a really, really amazing experience.
So did you take any inspiration from characters from the silent film era?
Yeah, so I did a lot of research into Norma Talmadge and and what happened to her when they were transitioning into talkies, and you know, just delved into that time period and that, you know, at that time what was happening with actors and actresses and how they managed to make the transition or didn't. And I realised that a lot of the women, the female actresses, didn't make the transition.
As you said, their career was just done.
Yeah, because the recording equipment was in its infancy. So a woman's voice was higher pitched than a man's voice. So a man's voice was recorded more easily, and a woman's voice was higher in pitch, and so just slightly more, you know, it just wasn't sophisticated enough yet, the recording equipment, to be able to, you know, to level out their voices. And often a lot of these actresses weren't even English speaking. A lot of them were foreign, from Eastern Europe or you know, from all over the world. So it wouldn't just be a case of finding a nice voice and working on an accent. Often it would be about learning a new language, and this change happened overnight, so a lot of them couldn't keep up. And then in terms of, you know, styling and what we were looking at for Myrna's style, we were looking at Monroe and Greta Garbo, and, you know, like really glamorous women whose aesthetic was the first thing that you noticed about them. And because she was living in Hollywood, there was just a slight difference in how Myrna was dressing and the sort of women that she was being inspired by, slightly different to the women who were living in England, the other cast members in Downton Abbey.
Did you feel any pressure to join a cast full of big Hollywood names? And who in particular did you bond with the most?
Well, I knew a few of the cast members before, so it was lovely to work with Jo Froggatt again. She's wonderful, and Phyllis Logan. Obviously Maggie Smith is just all hail Maggie Smith. Yeah, I was nervous about working with her, but she's great, and you just have to, I mean, just sit there and listen to her. She's just brilliant. I wasn't like crazy nervous about working with anyone, and in terms of a bond, I think it's just, you know, there's a feeling of a real united front with that cast. So yeah, an overall sense of just an overall sense of a time that was just really enjoyable, that I really value and I probably won't ever forget.
So lastly, as you explore new roles and opportunities, what draws you into new projects the most?
The writing, first and foremost for me. It's definitely the writing, and you know, if you just can't put it down, or you can't stop turning the page, and that's the thing that is the most exciting thing to me. If it feels authentic, relatable, if you're curious to keep turning the page and finding out more about these characters in this world, then I think that's the most important thing to me.
Like, you want to stay up all night and read it?
Yeah.
No sleep.
No sleep.
No sleep.
Yeah. When I was younger, I used to, if I picked up a book, I used to read the last page first.
I used to do that.
Did you?
Yeah.
God. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I always did it with
It's
every
kind of
book
cheating
I
though,
read.
isn't it?
Cheating, yeah, but there's something that it gave me a drive then to be like, how does this unfold? I know bits about what happens in the end, and I want to see how this thing unravels and unfolds and builds and
100%.
and then makes its way to the end result.
That's it. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.